Hello there, I'm Will Harris, the Flame Family Product Manager, and I'm excited to be here at Charlie Uniform Tango in Dallas with the legendary David Hanna.
Thanks for coming, Will. I'm eager to ask you some tough questions about Flame 2019 and what's new in it.
David, tell us a bit about how you use Flame here at Charlie.
Software-wise, we've got it all. I would say the one piece of software that we don't fluctuate about is our Flames. But in the edit suites, we'll bounce back and forth between Premiere and Avid. We've even got a guy in Austin that's using the old Final Cut.
And what kind of work do you do here?
Specifically, Charlie Uniform Tango is editorial, mainly for commercials. Every now and then we'll get a feature in, a documentary, and because we are very commercial-centric, those long-form projects tend to push us in ways that we're not accustomed to. We do a lot of commercials at various resolutions, at various color depths, and we have found that what we're being given by our clients now is not just, hey, develop this one commercial and ship it. We are using Flame to do a myriad of resolutions. So for us, the Flame is the room you come to make all the different versions that you're going to need for social platforms, for air, for any of the internet providers. This is the last room you're going to visit, and the Flame is, it's the hub of all of our deliveries here.
Okay, well, we're here to talk about the Flame Family version 2019. We're going to launch it at this NAB, and really it's kind of a big launch for us where we're going to be debuting the image and effects workflow, as we call it, which is really a way of doing integrated finishing inside the Flame product itself.
Awesome. Cool. Well, we've been waiting for it, and it's hard to miss that there's a new tab down at the bottom. What is this new tab about?
Yeah, we came up with the idea of the effects tab as really an environment that, when you first look at it, might remind you of like a color grading application. But indeed, it's sort of more than color grading. So the reason we didn't just call it the grading tab is because we think it's about any effect. Whether you want to do reposition, titling, actual layered effects, or indeed color grading, or what we sometimes call grading plus, where you want to do look development, you can do all of that quickly and iteratively in the effects tab.
Do you see that grading journey continuing in Flame?
Yes, I do. I mean, I think master grade, as the name suggests, we're being quite bold about what we think we're doing there. We have a video mode, a log mode, and a scene linear mode in that tool, which can all be used non-linearly. We've picked the Matchbox architecture as our kind of underlying GLSL engine. That makes it incredibly flexible. So it's not just about coloring pixels, it could be about distorting pixels, it could be about blending layers together. It's the Flame way of thinking brought to the color grading problem.
I think the question a lot of people are going to ask when they see this release is, have you just grabbed Luster and bolted it onto Flame?
The answer to that is no. Luster still stands as a standalone, dedicated color grading product. What we're doing is we're trying to build a new integrated grading and finishing environment inside Flame. So just like where Smoke Advanced and Flame kind of Edit and VFX met a few years ago, we expect the same sort of synergy to happen in Flame.
Well, what do you think is missing for a colorist from the effects tab? You know, if a Luster user was like, okay, I'm going to make that jump to Flame because I don't want to keep bumping back and forth between the two softwares, what are they going to be missing?
Well, the first thing they're probably going to be missing is control panel access for the actual effects tab and image node, where they might want to be able to use a colorist control surface like the tangent element or the new tangent arc. That is the large control panel that's in the works. They may well want a grade bin kind of a concept, which we don't really have that in version 2019 of Flame. We have what we call the effects clips, which are kind of like a simpler, sort of more broader concept of a place to store your work. But I think that some pure colorists are going to be looking for those big items out of the gate, and I don't blame them. We have them in Luster. We're not pretending that we've added them in Flame. Our goal in Flame is to be able to expand Flame for people that don't want to leave Flame and want to be able to do that integrated grading.
So is this just color grading in Flame?
I like to think of it as more than color grading. There is a tool, the Master Grade tool, but in this same architecture, you're able to use any matchbox you want, including community-generated ones. And we've built some new creative effects to really amp up this kind of look dev tool set. So there's the tool called A2 Beauty, which is a really special algorithm that allows you to do cleanup for skin. It's a great little tool. There's a tool called Washer that also is used for skin cleanup. And then there are some sort of creative blurring and bokehing tools, like our physical glare tool that understands things like camera f-stops and distance. And there's a bokeh tool that allows you to reproduce sort of the blur of real-life footage on maybe footage that doesn't have any bokeh effect on it.
With this change, what is the future of Lustre? What do you tell a dyed-in-the-wool Lustre user?
Well, I think for people that are using Lustre for high-resolution, long-form work, still use Lustre is the answer. We're still working on Lustre. We're still building features. But at the same time, we have this vision for the sort of more general part of our user base to be able to do integrated grading inside Flame. So David, you can see that from our way of thinking, the worlds of color grading and VFX and online edit of the past are kind of colliding in an interesting way. Do you see it the same way?
Yes, we do a lot of color in our rooms, and which has changed over time. It used to be absolutely forbidden to touch the color. Then we started to see one or two sessions where we were fixing some color. Then we saw people coming in and saying, you just handle the color. And now that's happening all the time. I have noticed in the modern online session or color session that all of the creatives, my clients, are on their laptops. And they are getting bombarded with requests for other jobs, for their treatments. Their daily job is no longer at their building. Right. It is now transitioned into my room where they're supposed to be focusing on what I'm doing for them. And what I have noticed is I have very little time to keep their attention before their focus goes back to their laptop and I've lost them. It's like dealing with a teenager and their phone. You just can't get their attention. One of the things I've noticed about 2019 and these new tabs and the image-based workflow here is that I'm not diving really deep into stuff. I am making quick on-screen changes and getting their feedback quickly and keeping them focused on why they're here and keeping their head from going down. And when I'm rendering or having to go make a lot of connections in batch, that's when I tend to lose them and it's difficult to get them back. So what was the thinking there about getting everything back onto the screen and not going back behind it to do a lot of work?
I think it's putting the image front and center, hence the name for that node. And it's also just trying to make tools that make an artist faster, right? And if you think about the kind of work that a lot of Flame artists are asked to do, whilst there is that kind of heavier VFX side, which, like you say, the clients can't really stay in touch with, it becomes a whole bunch of nodes at that point. It's a kind of a walk away, have a cup of coffee kind of experience. But when you get to that sort of moment of review, I felt that you needed a tool in Flame that was, again, a bit like a kind of color grading experience where all of your effects could be kind of reviewed and revised quickly with the image front and center and quick iterative changes. So if you think about that, it's sort of a timeline experience, but without the timeline really needing to be viewed.
Yeah.
So I do sort of see it as a renaissance of that being close to the image, being able to touch the image, and a tool set just for that. If you look at the fashion industry and what they do with stills, we were sort of inspired by that and looked at how can we do that in Flame, but across sort of moving picture entertainment, whether it be commercials, high-end fashion corporate, whether it be long-form programming that needs sort of that retouch effects, and even wacky look development. Let's build a tool set that puts the image center and gives you the ability to kind of go deep on look development and quality of pixels, but then be able to quickly sort of throw that over the fence to a bunch of other shots, apply tracking, use all the tools that are, the Flame magic in a sort of new focused environment.
Give me an idea about the concept of the storyboard and what the thinking was behind introducing that in the Effects tab.
The concept of the storyboard really does come from the world of color grading, right? That fast way to line up shots in a different sort order compared to the actual edit, and have that sort of temporary view of a bunch of shots that have maybe the same problem or the same thing to fix or the same continuity needed. And so we've threaded into the DNA of the storyboard in Flame that way of thinking, the ability to A mode, C mode sort your timeline, to be able to filter a bunch of shots by user selection and say, I want to focus on these shots and I want to see them with their handles, maybe. So are you actually changing the timeline? No, you're just taking a temporary view that helps you to quickly see the difference or see what needs to be fixed or get that continuity between shots. And then with a click of a button, you're back to the real edit and you can hit play on that kind of thing. So that storyboard way of thinking is a powerful concept that, like you said, did not exist in Flame before, and really kind of gives us a way to say that we're doing something that we like to call VFX at the speed of grading.
Oh, awesome. We used to just have to finish a commercial at one resolution, or PAL, or NTSC, and you had two choices. And now the resolutions, the color, the compression, they're limitless. Every feature, every phone has a new requirement. When we get a dub sheet from our clients, it's like a book now of all the things that they need, instead of just, hey, ship it. What are your thoughts in the future on that?
I think that the days of a kind of cookie cutter commercial campaign of a 60, a 30, and a 15 are probably changing dramatically, right? People want to be able to do all kinds of different deliverables, whether it's working in 4K for an HD deliverable with an SD, with an Instagram 1080 by 1080. That's all going to be in the mind of our Flame artists as they plan their projects. Probably it's maybe not just a campaign for a broadcast anymore. You're going to be thinking in terms of, okay, this is going to go to the web as its primary delivery. We might need tighter shots for smaller devices. It might just be that everything is more customized to the way people consume marketing, is the way I think of it. The other trend I would point out is the amount of content that is being funded by OTT vendors like Netflix, Amazon, Hulu. We're seeing Flame artists contribute to that as well, whether it's individual shots for VFX, but done at the sort of turnaround and with the artistic needs that that only a Flame artist can provide. And then we're seeing people conform whole shows at 4K, 5K, 6K resolution, and need a way to be able to manage color spaces, have that one master deliverable, do HDR titles at the right white level. It's diversifying, I suppose, and what was a kind of a cookie cutter way of thinking maybe 2 or 3 years ago seems to be quickly changing into, okay, it's a new digital world. How are we going to deliver our entertainment / marketing to people?
Well, I want to say thank you for Flame. It has been my career's work working on this software, and I love it. And I'm very proud to do this with you because I'm very passionate about this software, and I love telling people about it. And I just hope this release is an example of a lot of more cool things to come.
David, thank you very much for having us here at Charlie Uniform Tango, and thanks for using Flame.